Welcome to Women of the World, a show which gives a voice to women from around the world who have chosen to make the United States their home. Our program believes in the principles written on and enshrined by the Statue of Liberty. Here's today's moderator, Makena.
Hello viewers, and welcome to the show. My name is Makena, and I am the moderator. Today we are going to have fun responding to some live questions that we're just going to be responding to randomly. So welcome to the show. I have some co-hosts with me. They are amazing, and I'll give them an opportunity to introduce themselves. Starting with Ishwari.
I'm Ishwari, Rajak, as you know. I am from Nepal, the Himalayas. Now I make chocolates and run cooking classes here in Minnesota.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And Dawn?
Hi, I'm Dawn Tomlinson. I'm a Korean adoptee. I was born near the DMZ to a Korean mother and a GI father. I'm the president of nswers.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And we have Fartun.
Hi, I'm Fartun Welli. I'm Somali American. Live in Minnesota for 19 years. I run a nonprofit that serves Somali women and their families.
You're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And now we're going to start with the first question.
Right.
I'm not sure what I'm picking, but here we go. If you could eat only one thing for the rest of your life, what would it be?
For me, I would choose my ethnic food from Nepal, Newari. So it's not one dish, it's multiple dishes, but I say I'll eat Newari food.
And I would have bibimbap. It's a Korean dish, and you cook it over a gas stove so the rice gets nice and crispy, and on top you put vegetables and meat, so you can always change it up a bit, and that way it would be different every time.
Oh, for me, it has to be injera. It's a flatbread that you make, and you can add butter or some meat in it. And that's my favorite thing.
Do you want inside in that? Because I know injera has things inside, right?
There are two different injera. So ours, you just make it fresh, and then you put either oil or butter or some meat in it, or sauce. It's just different, but that's the one I love.
I think just because,
What about you?
Because my body responds so well and like to hold food in, I probably would choose collard greens, fried with onions. Then I won't have to be worried about...
Delicious sounds.
Yeah,
Right,
so
cool.
Interesting question. So let's see what we have next. What moment in history do you most vividly remember? Where were you at the time?
Start with me again.
Yeah.
Anyone?
Okay. The history moment in my life I remember is my first snowstorm or snow in Minnesota. I was in Mankato going to school, and it was early in the morning. I was standing outside, probably not best dressed for the weather, and because I was new, and I stood there, and then it was snowing, and I was waiting for the bus. It started to snow so bad. It was so cold, my eyes started to water. And then, because my eyes were already watering, I started to think of all the things I missed or missing, and then I started to cry in the bus stop itself. But I blamed the snow and cold for crying.
For me, I remember the day I was looking for a college. For several years in high school, I was dreaming that one day I would go to United States. For many reasons, it was just such a dream of my heart. But my dad always said, "You're such a dreamer, and that's not possible, that cannot happen, and just be realistic." I could not get rid of that dream. But one day I decided, with my dad's help, to go and look for a college in Nairobi, Kenya. And so when I went to that college, I sat on the chair and they interviewed me. They had already received my application and gone through it. And when I shared my heart with them, which had nothing to do with United States, because my parents had already said that was impossible, And so I just told them, you know, my vision is really to work with people and to help people. And they said, you know, we have 2 chances per year. We help 2 students go to United States of America. Have you ever thought of going to United States of America?
Oh my God.
I nearly fell out of my chair, and that's a moment in history that comes to my mind right now.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, how wonderful.
Yes, so that started my journey for coming to United States.
Wow.
I would have to say the moment that changed my personal history the most was the time that my friend told me about the camp towns in Korea. And what she meant was that I was probably born in one of those camp towns, and I didn't even know what a camp town was. And so it's the little villages outside the military bases where the Korean women and the American GIs would meet. And so once I learned about that, I had no idea that was part of my history, and it has changed me since then, and that was in 2014.
Not too long ago.
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing. So the best day, there's so many good things, but I think relate to America was the first election of President Obama. And I was not citizen then, but I worked door knocking and driving people so much that I had blisters on my foot or feet. And the part of me was saying, America cannot elect a black man, but then piece of me was saying, why not, you know? And so when I was watching CNN and I was just bandaging my heels, and CNN just said, projected. I just screamed, I howled it. And then the next morning I had no voice to go to work. I was like, you know. So that was really the best ever. It gave me so much courage and so much amazing and faith.
So even before you were a citizen, you were very invested in what was going on in
Oh,
America.
absolutely. You got to do that, yeah.
Awesome. So let's look at the next question. What do you hope people remember about you?
Gosh.
Yeah, that's
Start with you.
What people remember about me is that it was never about me. I'm here. I believe I'm here. I was brought to this world to be a service for others. I'm here to be an diehard advocate for the underdog. And so it was, if I'm come off very rude or very blunt, I like to be transparent and tell the truth up front, so I don't have to remember when I lied. So honesty, blunt, and being a service of people.
That's great. I'm going to echo that and say that when I get myself in trouble on Facebook, and I did that yesterday because somebody said something and people started kind of ganging up on this woman. And I don't know that I entirely agreed with her, but I didn't disagree with her. And my thought was, she has a right to express herself. And if this is her feelings and her thoughts, they are valid. And somebody needs to at least stand up for that. And I find myself feeling like a salmon swimming upstream, trying to defend the rights of people just to be able to express themselves.
Cool.
I hope people remember that about me.
Awesome.
What about you?
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay, me, I would echo the same. I would say I hope that someone or some people would remember me for something I did that changed their life one way or the other, whether it's made them believe in themselves more or work harder, just something that I did that helped shape their life in a positive way. I hope that I would be remembered for that.
Being a catalyst
Right.
for other people.
Yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
So for me, I've thinking what. I now do cooking classes, and I hated cooking when I was in Nepal. There's a long story to that, but when I came here, I had to cook. Now I teach cooking classes, so there's a big gap between when I hated cooking to now I teach cooking classes. And also another thing about me is I do menstruation. I'm a menstruation advocate, which means I talk about blood, and I made a documentary about why blood, we need to talk about the menstruation and blood. So, you know, doing cooking classes and talking about food, but at the same time talking about blood, something
health.
like women's health. I think that's what I would like people to remember me as. There's so much connection between. I would say that probably there's nothing much, or we don't need to hide anything.
So you don't want anything to be taboo.
Yes, exactly.
Great. That is great.
Very well explained. Thank you, Fartun.
Let's see. What is your number one piece of life advice?
Okay, for me, I would say, especially for women and young girls, financial stability is very, very important. I've worked 20-something years in different organizations, including profit making and non-profit. And especially in non-profit, I've seen that mostly the volunteers and interns who don't get paid, who are okay not being paid, are women. And as we know, when you don't make money, initially it adds up you don't end up not having enough money. And with the income disparity and everything, it eventually adds up. So I would like to say, even money is very important.
It is.
Don't be ashamed to say that I like money and I would like to make money.
Good advice. Yeah. You? Yeah.
Okay. So I really like what you said. I almost want to second that, and especially as a woman, it's important to be financially stable, because in case of even domestic violence, I'm huge on domestic violence because I have been a victim. And for me, if I wasn't financially stable, I probably would have been in the situation to today. So I completely respect that, and yes, people need that. And for me, I think would be really getting to know who you are, the core of who you are, and sticking with that. Because if you get to know yourself really, really well, who you really are, your values, your priorities, all those things, it's such a guiding factor in everything else you do in life. So I think just really getting in touch would be my one piece of advice.
That's good. I agree. My piece of advice would be to figure out who you are and then follow that path. And I think personally, I found that far later than I wish I had. And that once I decided that was what I needed to do, was to follow who I was, things fell into place so much better than I thought they were. I think I always feared that it would be the opposite. But no, in fact, it fell into place so much better than I thought it would. And life is much more rewarding when you follow your path than I think people believe it will be. So that would be my advice.
So true.
Amen. To all of you. Oh my God. So you've all said my choices. One thing I would say is women put themselves the last. So, but also they think about deficit. There isn't enough. One word of advice is abundance. And see how much of abundance comes to your life and to your loved ones. So we tend to compete against each other. We tend to look at, she got this much and I'm not going to get this much. But you limit your what God can give you, or what your creator, whoever you believe, can give you. So think about abundance. Everything is so much.
That's beautiful.
So
Women.
good go with. Yes.
Self-care for women.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So, did you ever get gum in your hair? What happened? Okay. No, I did not. And I would not want to imagine that. So,
Well,
I'm thinking if I've ever had anything with my gum, probably not. But it's interesting because my hair grows pretty well, and I've donated 2 times already in last 6-7 years I've been here. Otherwise, I haven't had gum stock, but just my head goes through that gum stock situation where I cut my hair till here, and then 2 years later, and I donate, and then I go back again. It's just the back and forth. But no, I haven't had gum stuck on my hair.
that's great.
When I was little, my mother gave me a very short haircut, which is why it's still long now, because I didn't like it.
yeah.
So I did get gum in my hair, but because it was so short when I was little, she just cut it out, and I didn't like it. But
Yeah.
you know, I was little, it was only about this long anyway. But this is probably why my hair is still long today and not shorter than this.
Well, yes. As growing up, because gum, we didn't grow up a lot of sweets. So during the holiday, or some guest visits us, and you have abundance of gums, so you really literally sleep on it, and then you wake up, your hair attached to it. So that's that's my childhood experience. And so mom, who braided my hair, will have to like give up and cutting some of my hair out of the gum. So yeah, that was so childhood crazy stuff that we did.
That's
Falling
great.
asleep.
Oh.
Yeah,
Wow.
we sleep on it.
If you could live another time, when and where would it be? Who would be there?
I would say I wish I was mature enough when my dad was in the military, and he had a high powerful job, but he passed away before I could really mingle with 7. And those days I would probably understand why women had to stay home. I would be like a better advocate in saying, yeah, mommy, you need to go to get a job, and dad say, yeah. So those earlier days of women so that I could be better advocate for women, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, this is a little crazy, but I loved my great-grandma Mabel. I was her favorite great-grandchild, and there were many, and she was my favorite grandmother, and I had several, because they all still were alive back then. And she died when I was 11. But for a living, they used to work the carnival circuit. So they were you'd go out to the carnival and there'd be the rides, but they were the balloon and dart booth. And that was back when it was much safer to do it. I think it's a little more dangerous to be part of the carnivals now.
Oh,
Yeah, it's different people, but it was like a family. And I wish I had been old enough to go with her and experience that. I think that would have been so interesting.
That sounds so
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, me, if I was to live again in another place, no, I think would still be in United States. I think there's a lot of benefits, at least for me, that I have found in living in United States. I would love to have my parents with me and the rest of my family that is still in Kenya. I miss them so much, and so if I was to make things perfect, I would like my parents and my siblings to be around. So
May that wish come true.
yes.
Yes.
that would be awesome.
For me, obviously, I would choose that too. But for now, I would choose the world of Wonder Woman. Remember that island? Just the women lived there, and then there were these fighters, warriors, and strong women. I would choose a world like that.
Oh, wow.
And I would have all my sisters, my mom, and all my grandmothers. Granddads can have their own little island where we can go and visit them.
Sure.
But I want the island just for women, so we can do and roam around wearing whatever we want, doing whatever we want, and being these amazing warriors and fun-loving people that we
Bunch of
are.
history gene running wild.
I think we
dreams.
learned something about you today.
Wow.
That's interesting. Okay. If money and time were no object, how would you fill your days? I love that one. If money and time were not a problem, right? What would, for me, really, I would fill my time with volunteering and helping people.
Nice.
Just get out, spend time with people with disabilities, and just encouraging people to be their best, and physically helping people that need help. I think that's what I would be doing with my time.
That's
That
great.
sounds so awesome.
For me, okay, going back, what do you say, piggybacking to what I said about the island, if I would build that island, a space, well, it may not be island, but even here, I would build that space for young, especially all, not just young girls, but everybody who could come and be safe and be strong. And boxing, I love boxing. I love kickboxing. So we, doing those, like being strong physically. When you are taken care of, when you take care of yourself, be strong. There's so many possibilities, and I'll make warriors of women. So I'll build that space.
I want to hang around you because I take life a little too seriously.
My goodness. What about you?
I would help people in little ways. So for instance, I have a friend who's amazingly talented as a storyteller, but she has a lot of challenges in her life. And I think money would help both of us. I could spend more time with her, but I could also assist her in ways that would be helpful to her, and I would let her guide that. Transportation is a big issue for her. I would essentially use money to buy time with people that I care about. My children, they all have to work lots of jobs. So if I could help them a little bit, they would only have to work one, and then we could spend more time together.
Yeah, and you can come to the island.
Yes,
We would definitely come to your island, of course. Yes.
For me, the path is clear. I would build very culturally relevant rehab centers, clinics, hospitals, where any women with any ethnic or any color will have a specifically designed services, one-stop shop, where she gets labor and delivery, clinical care, mental health, whatever she needs to do. And then there are, and then, support financially. And then second thing I want to do, we don't want to promote female alone.
Yes.
I want to invest in what a healthy family is, a healthy companion.
Yeah.
So strong women, yes, but you need to have your companion healthy, so you can have a healthy offspring too. So really, while we want to support reproductive health women and empowering women, giving the opportunities, but I also want to focus on making sure we don't alienate man, our other half, and build healthy family and healthy structure.
Build the second island.
Yeah.
Do we marry the two islands?
Women Island. I like that. That's great. What song or singer do you love to listen to?
Can I start that one?
Yes, please.
Okay, a couple of years ago, I was involved in a project called the Adoption Play Project. And it was the culmination of 200 stories of people involved in adoption, the adoptees, the adopted parents, the social workers, the birth parents even. And it was a 2.5-hour play. It was so incredible to be part of that project. It had so many layers, and people left crying in a good way, feeling really brought together by this adoption story that was laid out. But at the beginning, there was a band. We had a band.
Yeah.
It played Journey's Don't Stop Believin', and it was such an upbeat way to start the play. And so for 3 weeks, when the play would start, this would come on, and we would all be behind stage singing along with the band.
Nice.
It was such an amazing experience and such a way to start it that this song will be forever in my heart, really a bonding thing, and remind me that we can all come together.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Mine is seasonal. It depends on what mood I'm in or what environment I'm in. Right now, I'm listening to Frank Sinatra.
Hey,
That's what I'm doing. His album is what I have, and
hey.
Yeah.
just cool and calm.
I hear he's having a resurgence in popularity, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And for me, same thing, depends. But I love to dance, so I listen to dance music, and I listen to mellow when I dance. It's a lot of energy wasted or used. Then I listen to mellow songs, and there's a singer called Sabin Rai from Nepal. When he became popular, he was called Brian Adams of Nepal.
Oh,
Adam of Nepal. So I love to listen to his songs.
Cool. Well,
And for me, several music as well. I love music. If I was probably to narrow down to one person, I would favor Sinach Joseph. She's from Nigeria, a very inspirational gospel singer. But I would pick her because she's a woman of color from Africa, and has made huge success. So she is so inspirational to my life. Oh, this is such an amazing show.
Yes,
I wish
it
we
is.
could continue, but due to the time that we have left, I'm very thankful that I had this opportunity to just hang out and talk about these things. Thank you,
fun.
Ishwari. Thank you, Dawn, and thank you, Fartun, for being here today.
Yes.
And to our viewers, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you next time at Women of the World Show.